But it's as important as it is arcane. And it's something I wanted to bring to the attention of the council, and it's something that we can all collectively be proud of, but it's also something that largely goes unnoticed, and it's something that our staff works very, very hard to get right. And it's the kind of thing where they'll get no acclaim for doing it right, but if they do it wrong, everybody's going to know about it, and it will generate significant news interest. And so I would regard this as something that it is probably worthy of taking a breather and noting. Today, we're celebrating news that Moody's has once again affirmed the city of Portland's stable AAA stable rating for our recent bond issuance. This is the highest rating a bond can achieve, and it underscores Portland's high level of credit worthiness. The credit rating agency specifically highlighted several of Portland's credit strengths, including healthy long-term economic fundamentals, the city's vigorous financial management practices, as well as strong governance. This AAA bond rating allows the city of Portland to attain the most advantageous borrowing costs that are available, ensuring that we can continue to invest in the community and infrastructure that makes Portland a vibrant city. I want to take a moment to recognize and congratulate the exceptional team within the Bureau of Revenue and Financial Services that have worked hard on this achievement. But before I do that, I just want to paint a little bit of a picture here. So the significance of the bond rating is that it determines the cost that we will receive for the issuance of bonds. So every time we have Beco Taylor come up here and tell us about a new infrastructure project, or anytime PBOT comes forward with a new infrastructure project, or anytime we want to issue debt for any reason, the credit rating determines how much that credit is going to cost the city of Portland. And it has a significant material impact on the bottom line of our city. And so I felt it was important this year in particular to recognize the good work of the OMF and finance and budgeting teams, because Moody's changed its protocols. And so this was the first time that we've been under the new protocols. It takes a larger, more holistic look at the city's finances. It looks at issues that are near and dear to our hearts, like the color of money. They look at our practices, our fiscal, our financial practices, and they kicked the tires very, very hard this time around. And honestly, we weren't sure what the new system would mean in terms of our credit rating. So we all breathed a significant sigh of relief when the strong AAA rating was sustained. I want to take this opportunity to thank the leader of the team, Chief Administrative Officer Michael Jordan. Interim Chief Financial Officer Thomas Lanham, City Treasurer Bridget O'Callahan, City Debt Manager Matt Gierach, and Financial Analyst Patricia Teague. This rating is a testament to your dedication, your expertise, and your commitment to the city's finances. Your hard work and your collective effort have been instrumental in retaining our city's strong credit rating. And I just want to say, I think we're well positioned for future strong credit ratings too. But I just felt it was important to highlight this one thing that just never gets highlighted in our city's infrastructure. With that, colleagues, thank you. I don't know if anybody else, Commissioner Maps, if you want to say something.
I don't know if staff wants to make any present. Well, do you guys want to say anything before I go?
Thank you. I have a couple of things I can say, but I can speak after you're done.
Well, sure. I want to echo the mayor's congratulations and thanks to our teams over at Revenue and Finance and OMF for their good work. As a guy who occupies the infrastructure space, I rely on our credit rating deeply. Even a small change can have huge impacts on literally what the city's able to pull off. Certainly one of the things that I have been trying to track during my time on council is the fact that the rules governing this space have evolved in recent years. I haven't been quite clear how the new landscape works, but we have a great group of professionals who have navigated this space obviously exceptionally well. And if I could put a plea out there to the future and to the folks who will sit on this council a year from now, one of my recommendations is that early on you hold a work session just to educate yourself about the various factors that impacts the city's credit rating as we move forward. This is a basic aspect of good governance that Portland has to get right. It's also an evolving landscape, and I think as we head into this budget cycle, we all know and recognize that we face increasing financial pressures, and the choices that we make as we navigate that space will also have implications for what our credit rating looks like, which in the end really boils down to how much money costs. So very important. We have done this better than, you couldn't do it any better than we have done it right now, which is why we retain our AAA rating. Want to thank you for being there, and I see my colleague Dan Ryan has his hand up.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, first of all, Mayor, for bringing this to the attention of the public. And everything you said was spot on. I know that when we run organizations, I'm looking at Commissioner Rubio, the treasurer of the board, the CFO, and the CEO, and a couple other people are really excited about this, and then no one else really gets it. But you're right. If it didn't go well, forget about it. And it saves so much money for our taxpayers. So I just want to thank the three of you and the teams that you have, and just state your name again for the public and how long you've worked for the city of Portland.
My name is Patricia Teague. I'm a principal debt analyst, and I've been at the city for 26 years.
26 years. Thank you for your service. Yeah.
Matt Gierach, debt manager. I've been with the city for 5.5 years.
Thank you, Matt.
Hey, 5.5.
Mike, where do we begin? Yeah.
Where do we begin?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you. This doesn't get recognized all that often, and this is a particularly well-deserved thing for Matt and Patricia. I've worked with them in a former life on revenue debt issuances at Environmental Services, and quite frankly, they're the best, period. But it's really a recognition of the entire city and all the management, because Moody's doesn't just look at what these guys do. They look at what we all do. And if you want to learn how well a city or a county or a state are actually operating, go read their official statement for a debt issuance. They are amazing documents, and they're very heavy and long. But these guys do a great job putting them together. You know, we have 6 core values at this city, and we talk a lot about equity and anti-racism, and justifiably so. We also talk a fair amount about communication and collaboration and transparency. What we don't talk about very often is the value of fiscal responsibility, which is also one of our 6 core values. This rating by Moody's, an independent third party whose job it is to accurately communicate the financial status of a municipality, to financial markets worldwide. That's all they do, and they're known for it across the entire planet. And for us to receive this rating, it's a pretty big deal. Some might say, you've had a AAA rating for quite a while. What is the big deal? And the mayor really articulated the difference. It's a different methodology. We were concerned, quite frankly, and to maintain a stable AAA is really a testament to the whole city, as I said before, and I want to extend that. This is not just about the staff and the management of the city. It's also about you. Today, you're going to make a very difficult decision, and you make it every year about rates for utilities. And one thing Moody's and S&P look at with great scrutiny is the governing body's ability to make tough decisions to maintain the financial stability of the organization. And as we said before, our entire rating now is based on the whole city's financial. It used to be that the utilities were kind of in a separate category. But the decision you're going to consider today is one of those really tough decisions that when you sit in your chairs, those are the tough ones you have to make. And we appreciate it. And so it extends to all of us. So congratulations to you too.
Thanks, Michael.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
continued excellent
Thank you
work.
so much.
Appreciate it. All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Wednesday, March 13th, 2024 morning session of the Portland City Council. Rebecca, good morning. Please call the roll.
Rubio. Here. Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Maps.
Here.
Mueller.
Here. It is now time for legal counsel to shine.
Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with City Council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony, or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First up is communications. First individual, please, Rebecca, item 1213.
Request of Ruth Campbell to address council regarding city planning and street design that prioritizes bicycles and pedestrians. They canceled their request.
All right, very well. Let's see. I take it 214 comes next, please.
Request of Amber Boydston to address council regarding ending the occupation in Israel and genocide. And
Good morning.
Here's online.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Amber, and I'm a Portland-born Black woman, parent, and educator, and founder of my organization, Spirited Justice. And today I'm calling upon your humanity and power to make tangible change. I am infuriated by your paid silence. Multnomah County had a unanimous vote for a ceasefire resolution last week, and I'm still awaiting on a complete compliance. I'm calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire to allow unrestricted and unimpeded humanitarian aid to enter into Gaza and to end the U.S. military support to Israel that is being used against both U.S. and international law. An astounding $10 million in military aid has been sent to Israel out of our Portland tax dollars, while those funds could be spent directly supporting our city and the communities in it. We have trained professionals willing to help with our debilitating housing crisis, with our schools and the families and teachers who have been at the mercy of policies and practices that are antithetical to actual growth and educational care, and to fill the gaps with food sovereignty. There's no shortage of solutions from the people. There is just a shortage of integrity and policies for the people and funding allocations from our elected officials. 20 recorded Palestinian child starvation deaths have mounted over the past few weeks, with an expected exponential rise. There is a growing threat of ground invasion in Rafah, the previously declared safe zone that has now been bombed for over a month with daily shellings. The reprehensible facade that Portland's elected officials weaponize, like Palestinian genocide has nothing to do with us, is proven untrue by the amount of funding and infrastructure around supporting a relationship to Israel and maintaining its illegal occupation of Palestinian land. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I demand as a taxpayer and fellow human on this planet for an immediate and permanent ceasefire. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. And I won't give my speech again. I'm well on the record on this subject, but thank you for your testimony. Next individual, please, 215.
Request of Aubrey Russell to address council regarding Lincoln and Roosevelt statues in South Park Blocks.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Aubrey Russell. Darian Jones told me here 2 weeks ago at City Council that following adoption of a policy to consider monuments complaints, that there would be a report from the City Arts Program to you, that there would be a recommendation in that report to you, that report and recommendation would come to you roughly a month following the adoption of the monuments complaint policy. The date, April 11th, was mentioned. I took that to mean maybe April 10th, since that's a Wednesday. That report and recommendation, Darian said, would be accompanied by a resolution by which you, City Council, could determine the fate of statues, Lincoln, Roosevelt, York, and others. In this last week, though, we're hearing something different from Darian. We're confused. There's talk of July as the next interaction with Council, not April. We are concerned that the report and recommendation to City Council that are central to moving this process forward is slipping. We look forward to speaking in good faith with Darian. The April timeline was not just communicated to me by Darian here 2 weeks ago. Darian had made assurances to this effect over the course of the previous month. On February 7th, Darian explained in an email to us, in essence, once the City Council ratifies a policy governing a process, the City Arts Program will be poised to swiftly submit a report. The report will address whether monuments should be returned or removed. The urgency of finding a solution to the 5 toppled monuments was underscored on July 19th. Those are Darian's words. He then said February 16th, after City Council has adopted a process for decision-making on public monuments, the City Arts Program will produce a report, likely in March, with recommendations to City Council to consider for decisions on the toppled, removed monuments. Darian also said, the policy recommendations for a public process and decisions on the toppled or removed monuments are slated for February and March of 2024. Darian again wrote on February the 16th, following council adoption of a policy, our office will work with the City Arts Program in March to deliver a report to City Council with recommendations. And I could go on, but I have just one more. On February 17th, Darian wrote, once this policy is adopted by council, staff time will be focused on working with the City Arts Program and committed to produce that report to City Council in March. Again, we are confused. Following your adoption of the monuments complaint policy, we think the timing is right to keep to the city's stated plan. Thank you. I'm sorry I went over.
Thank you. You weren't too bad. Commissioner Ryan.
Sure. Good to see you, Aubrey. And as you know, the person that name you used a few times is in the audience. You guys could actually communicate directly, which would be great. This just passed 7 days ago. And the Arts Office and my office is working together. It'll take some time. This will happen in the spring. We're doing a restorative justice process. It'll be messy. It'll be honest, and it will come back to this dais in due time. I'm not going to commit to an actual date in April at this moment on the dais. I will commit that we're on it, and it's going to be a long report. And we're also, more importantly, engaging with a lot of communities at this time. And we had to get that engagement process up and running in a more robust fashion. And I'm really grateful that Darian Jones in my office jumped in and helped with that.
We look forward in dealing in good faith
I know. Okay.
and honestly with meaning to words and commitments. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And again, Darian's right there. You guys can have a real conversation. All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Aubrey. Appreciate it. Next individual, please, 216.
Request of Christopher Hale to address council regarding road deaths, safer infrastructure, and cultural change.
Good morning, Christopher. I see you there online. Can you unmute?
Christopher, can you hear us? Try talking. It doesn't look like you're muted. Christopher?
Why don't we go to the next individual, and then maybe we can sort it out, or if you have Christopher's phone number, maybe we can just do it by phone. Thanks, Rebecca. We'll come back to you, Christopher, in a moment. Next individual, 217, please.
Request of Jared Essig to address council regarding public safety, behavioral health, and mass psychogenic illness treatment.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor Wheeler, councilors, citizens of Portland. My name is Jared Essig. I'm representing the Rose City Iron Front, defending constitutional government, rule of law, and Republican democracy. We're a nonpartisan public interest political and direct action group that is anti-fascist, anti-totalitarian communist, and anti-imperialist. You might know, or you might not, that before the Spanish, French, Russian, British, and American empires, there was the Roman Empire. Now, once upon a time, the Roman Empire invaded, conquered, and occupied Judea and Samaria and renamed it Palestine, which is a European word imposed upon the region by a foreign imperial power.
Interesting.
Israel is the national liberation movement of the Jewish people from the Roman Empire and its offspring. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about that, but rather about a ceasefire that we urgently need right here in Portland. We've had an unprecedented crime and murder epidemic. The probable cause of this is the celebration, endorsement, and valorization of violence. Yet this cause has been mostly ignored by analysis done of it, including by our auditor and by the Oregonian and by most so-called responsible adults in the room. We also need a Middle East peace plan, and it goes in a nutshell like this: stop the war against Israel. In a nutshell. If we want a permanent ceasefire, it's going to happen when the U.S. government starts enforcing U.S. law and stop financing Palestinian terrorism. Our tax dollars are currently going to support the Palestinian Authority's Martyrs Fund, which subsidizes the pay-to-slay program, whereby Palestinian criminals and terrorists who make random attacks on Israelis and end up in Israeli prisons and jails are paid stipends and subsidies by the Palestinian Authority. This egregious program was mentioned in a letter of July last year, a bipartisan congressional letter announcing this and asking for an investigation and an end to the pay-to-slay subsidies. About $300 million per year the Palestinian Authority spends on this, including our tax dollars financing this. Now, you might have known that in the last couple of months, there have been pro-terrorism war rallies throughout Portland, shutting down streets and bridges, under asking Israel to cease fire in its self-defense and abandon efforts to redeem its hostages, while simultaneously saying that, quote, resistance is justified. You ever notice they don't condemn the massacre of October 7th? Even the Multnomah County Board did not condemn the massacre of October 7th. Why? They believe it's justified. Globalize the Intifada. You've heard that. This threatens the peace and dignity of Portland, and I ask you to take a more resolute stance like you did on October 11th, in the words of Mayor Wheeler, which we thank you for. Terrorism in all its forms is a threat to the peace, prosperity, and values of our county. We vehemently oppose and denounce the actions of Hamas. The county board should say the same thing, and so should the teachers' unions and the other so-called responsible adults in the room. Thank you, and adopt the amended resolution that I proposed from Multnomah County Board as a recommendation.
Thank you. Can we see if Christopher is able to hear us?
Christopher Hale. Chris, can you?
I can hear you now.
Oh, yeah,
Can you hear me?
great. We can hear you too. Excellent.
Okay.
We can hear
Thank
you
you for
and
your
we can
patience.
see you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Dr. Christopher Hale, board certified ER physician. I want to talk about our epidemic of road deaths in Portland. Specifically, I want to challenge some statements from the city council that have been dismissive of building safer infrastructure, saying we just need to change the culture of bad driving. So I'm going to give my conclusion right at the beginning. We can't hope for a culture change to modify behavior. Infrastructure is what modifies behavior. Ever since humans existed, they've used intoxicating substances, and we've never succeeded in getting everyone to show moderation. Ever since cars were invented, people have driven distracted and too fast. But we didn't say we don't need seatbelts and airbags, people just need to drive more responsibly. We assumed the inevitability of human error, and we made changes so those errors were not death sentences. The inevitable errors don't need to be deadly. When someone inevitably drives while drunk or distracted, is someone more likely to be killed in this unprotected bike lane or in a bike lane protected by hardened infrastructure like these Jersey barriers? Repainting and narrowing lane widths has repeatedly been shown to slow drivers. At the same speed limit of 35 miles per hour, roads with 9-foot lanes had 50% fewer car crashes and pedestrian incidents than roads with 12-foot lanes. I'm happy to show you the studies, but it also makes intuitive sense. Wider lanes embolden people to drive faster and more carelessly. Narrow lanes force people to pay more attention and they go slower. On which road do you think someone is more likely to feel comfortable glancing down at their phone or street racing? This super wide road with little to no infrastructure, or this road? This lovely street is in Hamburg, New York, but it didn't always look like this. This used to be a wide, failing main street, and the infrastructure changes are widely credited for revitalizing the area. One of the primary things they did was simply narrow the lanes from 21 feet down to 10 feet. They had the exact same number of lanes, but serious crash injuries fell by 90%, and they reclaimed much of the street for other purposes. Curb extensions also modify behavior. Because drivers need to take the turn at a sharper angle, they're forced to slow down and pedestrians are more visible. Elevated crosswalks remind drivers that they're passing through a pedestrian priority area, and they act as speed bumps at precisely the moment the driver should be driving slowly. Infrastructure doesn't need to be a large capital expenditure. Since people don't want to wreck their car or scratch their paint on these hardened traffic diverters, drivers will slow down to negotiate the turn around them. Now, this city council has been in charge during a year when Portland broke a 30-year record for traffic deaths. And so far this year, we've already had 15 deaths, so we're on track to surpass last year. Now, 3 of you are running for mayor, and if you do nothing more than continue to call for a change in the culture of dangerous driving, this is the record you'll be running on. Mayor Wheeler, this could be your legacy. But if you all start pushing for the hardened infrastructure changes that have been proven to save lives, you can be credited as people who started to turn around this ongoing disaster. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Chris, and don't go away. A couple of comments here. Commissioner Mapps has a comment. I've got one as well. Thank you.
Sure. Dr. Hale, thank you so much for your testimony today and for your advocacy on behalf of safer infrastructure. As the commissioner in charge of infrastructure for the city of Portland and your transportation commissioner, I couldn't agree with you more. However, here is a space where I do disagree with you. I have basically sat in and watched every city council meeting for the last 3+ years, I've never heard anyone on council, including myself, say infrastructure does not matter, especially in the space of traffic fatalities. What we have, as me specifically have said, is, infrastructure matters, enforcement matters, and culture matters. As the transportation commissioner, I have some control over infrastructure, and we are continually investing in building safer and better infrastructure. At the same time, enforcement matters, and that's why you have heard me in this council and probably out in the community urging my colleagues to increase enforcement. A majority of our traffic fatalities involve one or both parties who are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. That's deeply problematic, and frankly, that's kind of a cultural issue. Also, the way people drive in this space is quite problematic too. So what I'm calling for and what we have been working towards, and I agree we have a lot of work left to do, is better enforcement. I'm calling on my colleagues to help us do more. We need better infrastructure, more enforcement, and there is a culture change that just needs to happen. I will tell you, I do not see a day in Portland does not go by when I don't see someone drive through a red light. That's just remarkable. That did not happen even 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's pretty clear from the research that something about our driving culture changed profoundly during the pandemic era. One of the things that I think we need to do in order to make our streets safer is to remind people of that and ask people to just drive sober, drive slow, and drive carefully. Thank you very much, Mayor, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks. Christopher, first of all, thank you for being here. That was actually a great presentation. I may have my daughter watch that because she's just learning now how to give a very succinct, very effective presentation. You used really good examples. The one from New York, that is a sterling example, 90% reduction and issues due to the infrastructure improvements there. That is exactly the kind of insight and information we need. I want to agree with my colleague, Commissioner Mapps. I sort of view it as the proverbial three-legged stool.
That's correct.
Which is hilarious since I don't think I've actually seen a three-legged stool in probably 30 years. I don't even know if they exist anymore. But you're 100% correct that infrastructure matters significantly in terms of shaping behavior. I think that was the most important thing I heard in your presentation, was that infrastructure can help us with that cultural shift. So infrastructure, behavior, and enforcement. There have to be consequences that are swift and sure for erratic or dangerous behavior that puts everybody's lives at risk. And I know as a council, we're committed to that. And I also agree with Commissioner Mapps just on the cultural piece. I just see, and this is anecdotal, it's not as scientific as the good information you brought forward, but I just see so much more reckless behavior, as you just have people just blowing through yellow lights at full speed, people not slowing. I watched some poor guy try to cross the crosswalk the other day over on Park, and car after car after car was just blowing by this guy while he was trying to cross the street. And of course, electronics have become ubiquitous in our lives. And unfortunately, a lot of people, let's just say it, they're heavily addicted to it. And they can't even put it down long enough to bother to drive safely. And so I think all three of these things are important, and I really appreciate the way you highlighted the important role that infrastructure does play. But we also have to focus on the behavioral shifts that aren't related to infrastructure, and we have to focus on enforcement for those who just don't get it. So, but thank you. Very, very good, very provocative testimony, and I hope we see you again.
Well, I certainly agree, and thank you for your time. I 100% agree that the cultural problem is an issue. We all have to do what we can where we can. As an ER doctor, I deal with people who have problems with opioids and with alcohol. And if anything, like I may have more power over that part of the culture than you do, because I actually prescribe things for people. But since you don't have that power to change the cultural aspect, we're calling on you to change what you can, and that is infrastructure and enforcement, definitely. Because I I completely agree. We take our kids to and from school by bike, and we have to wait at crosswalks where people do not stop for us, and we see people every single day blow through red lights, and we see people driving every single day without license plates on, so red light cameras can't enforce them. So all those steps are necessary at the same time. So do what you can. If you can't change the culture, changing the infrastructure, changing the enforcement can change the behavior, and changes in behavior over a long period of time is what changes culture. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir. And on a complete side note, thanks. I know this is a really challenging time to be a doctor. And I have a lot of friends who are doctors, and I just see the pressures they're under and the stress and the workloads. Thank you for your service in that arena as well.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That completes communications, correct?
Yes.
Have any items been pulled off the consent agenda?
No.
Please call the roll.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The consent agenda is adopted. We will now move to the regular agenda, item 223.
Add blowers code to phase out the use of gasoline leaf blowers to reduce public health impacts.
This is a second reading of a non-emergency ordinance. Is there any further business on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Rubio.
Colleagues, this is an important vote today because it signals the beginning of the phase out of gas-powered leaf blowers in our city, a policy that will make our city healthier and cleaner to live in. The health and climate impacts of gas-powered leaf blowers are real, according to the California Air Resources Board. For the best-selling commercial leaf blower, 1 hour of operation emits smog-forming pollution comparable to driving a 2017 Toyota Camry about 1,100 miles, or approximately the distance from Los Angeles to Denver. This policy is centered around environmental justice, making sure that we fully understand the needs and impacts of those closest to the problem, and we're making sure support is available as workers and small businesses make this transition. Thank you to BPS staff Vivian, Sonjisa, Vin, and Vin for the extensive work that you put into this policy, as well as Megan Byer, my staff. There was a significant amount of work and outreach and communication that went into this work, and I believe this team truly listened to the input of many to bring forward an achievable transition. I'd also like to acknowledge the cooperation of the infrastructure bureaus to help and guide a transition that they can and will meet. And we're also happy to partner on this work with Multnomah County Chair Megan Peterson and her team. Lastly, I'd like to remember where this all started and give credit to where it's due to the late Commissioner Nick Fish. He was a strong advocate for this work, and I believed he would be so proud to finally see this policy moving forward. I vote aye.
Ryan.
First of all, thank you, Commissioner Rubio, for leading a collaborative process to bring this ordinance forward. We heard some very impassioned testimony last week. It was quite good. And 2 individuals captured my attention with their testimonies. I wanted to lift those. Mauricio Flores of the Oregon Landscape Contractors Association, and then Dr. Yuri Ramirez from the Clean Air Lawn Care. Their insights were so invaluable. And the leaders within the lawn care community, your endorsements of a move away from gas leaf blowers reaffirms this direction we're going. And your caveats are well taken. You highlighted the need for improved infrastructure, a phased approach, and a special consideration to ensure small contractors remain competitive in our market. Your emphasis on the challenges faced by the Latinx community within this industry underlines the necessity for inclusive engagement and effective communication from our local governing authorities, especially as we transition to full compliance. And your commitment to clean energy and your proactive approach in addressing council are so commendable. It was inspiring to see industry leaders like yourself support the measures that are undeniably beneficial for both our residents and for the environment, even when it may mean more competition for your business. I also like to acknowledge the contributions from Parks and Rec on this project. Parks and Rec is appreciative to have been at the table, so thank you, BPS, for that. And I just want to acknowledge that 90% of the city's leaf blowers users are employed by Parks and Rec. They maintain over 200 parks and remove hundreds of tons of wet leaves during each leaf season. Many of you already know that Parks has replaced 100% of their handheld blowers with battery-operated models. They are in discussions to upgrade their facilities to support that infrastructure needed to charge this technology. And there is a change too. As I said last week, it's important that we connect the dots between the theory, policy making, and this practical implementation. I applaud the parties involved. I look forward to the implementation being successful. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
I'm going to support this today. I think this is an important response to those aging in place, to those working from home in the city of Portland. Certainly in the 10 plus years I owned my own business with substantial hours working from home, it changed my perspective on this issue and the disruption of everyday life that comes from the noise generated by leaf blowers. I'm going to have some caveats as we monitor this over the coming years, however. I think it's important to emphasize the enforcement of this policy in residential areas and maintain understanding that large properties like open space managers, including parks and golf courses, will need assistance in adoption. I am somewhat concerned with the current technology that what we're going to lead to is less powerful leaf blowers running for longer, particularly in heavy leaf seasons. But I appreciate that this will be edged in, that there will be a transition period, that hopefully the technology will catch up. I'm also concerned about the disproportionate impact this policy may have on small, minority-owned, particularly Latino-operated businesses in the area. I sincerely hope that the promise of financial help from county resources and PSEF materialize, not just for city bureaus, although that's important, but for small businesses that may be impacted. I do want to also emphasize that we've heard from some contractors that the result of this ordinance will be that they'll run diesel engine vehicles all day long to keep their battery charges and switching out. So I do think we have to monitor the unintended consequences of what this will do in the field. But again, we're betting on long-term technological evolution in the hope of transitioning from a dirty grid to a cleaner grid in the state of Oregon and in the region. Last note here, and I just hope folks pay attention to the current status of electrical generation in our region. One of our two major utilities, as of the last report on the Oregon Department of Energy, is producing 45% of its electricity with coal, 18% with natural gas. That doesn't include what they buy on the market. So when we talk electrification in 2024, we are continue to drive coal and natural gas consumption. Again, we can hope and that will continue to trend towards cleaner sources of energy in our grid. But I just wanted us to be aware of those realities. I still vote to support this today in response to the needs of our neighbors and aging in place and working from home. Thank you.
Maps.
As I cast this vote, I am thinking about our departed colleague, Nick Fish. This was certainly one of his passion projects, and I'm certainly proud to be on the council that helps move this forward. Partly to honor him, it feels in many ways, if you've been out in the community for a couple of years, you have probably had dozens, if not hundreds of conversations with Portlanders who care about this. It's great to move this conversation forward. At the same time, you have heard Commissioner Gonzalez express concerns about how this particular proposal might impact the private sector. And before I cast my aye vote, I do want to also highlight that there are concerns about how this will be implemented and how this will impact some of our public sector agencies, specifically in the public works space. I'll tell you, water, BES, and PBOT all have to manage large, essentially wild areas, and frankly, we need to use industrial scale equipment for that. It's frankly the technology that we need to comply with this particular ordinance doesn't quite exist yet. We hope that it will exist soon. That's one of the reasons why I am making a point to get it on the record that as we go about implementing this, we need to be sure to dialogue not only with parks, but also water in particular, and BES and PBOT. But in the meantime, I vote aye, and I look forward to the implementation of this important ordinance.
Wheeler.
Well, I appreciate this being brought forward. Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Thank you for everybody who worked on it. it always generates a question in my head, which is how the heck did we get along before leaf blowers came along? And the answer, of course, is we used rakes and brooms. I even forgot about brooms. I don't know how that happened, but maybe that says something about my sloppy habits at home. But I want to just say I appreciate the way this was done. This was done with front-loaded input from industry and those who would be economically impacted by this policy. I appreciate, Commissioner, that you listened to those industries in your creation of a phase-in approach, which I think was very smart. I also am very glad that right up front you mentioned Nick Fish, because we would have been remiss if we didn't mention the fact that when this was a very controversial issue, and it still is, I mean, let's not kid ourselves, but it was a very controversial issue, and Nick was ready to take this one all the way to the mat to see it through. And from his perspective, I remember him saying that the trade-off wasn't worth it. The efficiency trade-off was not worth the costs to the community. And that rang true with me then. It certainly rings true with me now as the technology continues to improve. And I strongly agree with what Commissioner Gonzalez said. There is a bigger picture here, and we can't lose sight of that bigger picture. Just solving one piece of a chain of issues isn't sufficient to solve the overall problem. And I do think we should continue to be vigilant about the impact of this policy and perhaps unintended consequences of this policy and others as we think about the bigger picture. And then just last but not least, I really appreciate you mentioning just sort of the annoyance factors. I don't know what it is about my ears, but just the frequency at which these things operate really drive me nuts. So I'm glad we're putting into place an approach that I think can address all of these issues simultaneously. We probably didn't get it exactly right, but there's always room for improvement. There's always room for evolution, but this is a really, really strong and appropriate starting point. So I vote aye and the ordinance is adopted. Next item, please. Hearing section. That doesn't usually happen here at City Hall.
Wanting this for 10 years.
Thank you. Well, you and I guess we should mention you folks as well. I mean, this has been a community priority for a long, long time, and those of you who are here today, I recognize you from long-standing discussions on this subject and others. So thank you for your push. That's how things get done around here. Thank you. Next item, 224.
Accept a grant in the amount of $13,895,277 from the Oregon Department of Transportation and authorize intergovernmental agreement for Burgard Bridge Resiliency and Multi-Model Enhancement Project.
Commissioner Mapps.
Colleagues, this item comes to us from PBOT. This ordinance allows PBOT to accept a grant from ODOT and enter into an IGA with that state agency to replace the 92-year-old Burgard Bridge over the Union Pacific Railroad in St. John's. This bridge provides a critical connection to residents and businesses. It serves all modes of transportation and provides a critical link that connects the North Portland Peninsula to other areas of the city. The current bridge is also in poor condition. This project will replace this aging infrastructure with a new bridge that will facilitate freight movement, provide enhanced bicycle and pedestrian facilities, and meet seismic standards. Here to tell us more about this project, we have PBOT Project Manager Winston Sandino. Welcome, Winston. Well, I assume it's on. There you go. I see. I'll hand the floor over to you. Hi, Winston. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that.
No
Can you hear me
problem.
now?
Yeah, now we hear you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Winston Sandino. I'm a project manager for the Portland Bureau of Transportation, and I was assigned to deliver the design and construction of this bridge. You can see in the map where the bridge is located. It's south, you'll see St. John's neighborhood, and then the north side, you'll see the Rivergate industrial area. You can see Marine Drive on the northeast side. Terminal 4, it's an important connection to the port on the northwest side. Next slide, please. I would like to talk about the background and the existing conditions of the bridge. The bridge was originally constructed in 1930, and the existing bridge carries vehicular, pedestrian, and bicycle traffic on North Lombard Street, formerly known as Burgard Road, which has recently changed the name, over the Union Pacific Railroad. And it is owned and maintained by the Portland Bureau of Transportation. It is on a major freight route that serves Terminal 4, Northwest Container, Rivergate Industrial Area. The current layout of the bridge is a 6-span, 126 feet long by 48 feet wide reinforced concrete bridge, and has been modified and rehabilitated numerous times since its initial construction. The bridge is also steep relative to its flat approaches, creating a hump shape with slopes and angles that do not meet current roadway or ADA standards, lacks a sidewalk on one side, and has unprotected paint and post bike lanes. Recently, the bridge was hit by a Union Pacific train in 2020, and it is currently in a very poor condition due to the damage sustained from the train impact. Traffic lanes have been shifted to avoid the running vehicles over the damaged pier. Next slide, please. The new proposed bridge is going to be a 110-foot-long single-span structure in an out-to-out deck of 57 feet. It will maintain a clear span over the Union Pacific Railroad right-of-way, and it's fully contained within the existing PBOT right-of-way, which currently it's about 80 feet wide. The bridge will also comply with 5% ADA grade requirements throughout the extent of the project based on the revised vertical alignment, and it will maintain a 23.6 vertical clearance as it is required by the Union Pacific Railroad. The new cross-section of the bridge will also include 8-foot sidewalk on both sides, 12-foot travel lane with a side distance, and a 12-foot sidewalk level two-way bikeway on one side. Next slide, please. Sorry about the picture. That's what we had from the grant application. But on the top side, you're going to see the existing bridge condition. So it's a long bridge. It's 126 feet long, 6-span. You can see that there are 5 columns very close to each other. Down below, you're going to see the flat area where the train tracks are. They're very close. That's the issue. We have trains hitting the columns. That's the existing bridge. Down below, you're going to see the new proposed bridge. So you will never have any problem with the columns. It will be a single-span bridge. And the Union Pacific Railroad would have plenty of right-of-way to expand, and no problem with hitting the bridge. We will also include a protected fence on top. Next slide, please. This is the proposed cross-section of the bridge. This is looking from St. John's to Rivergate. We will have an 8-foot sidewalk on one side, 2 12-foot travel lane with a 1.5 side distance. We'll have another 8-foot sidewalk and basically a 12-foot bike multi-use path. Next slide, please. Construction staging. This is important to mention. North Lombard Street over this bridge provides a direct access to Rivergate and the marine terminals at the port, and it also serves as the only direct connection from Rivergate to the US Highway 30 via the St. John's Bridge. So fully closing this bridge during construction would have a major impact to freight traffic, and there are no available detour routes that would not significantly impact residential streets. So the bridge will be constructed in several stages to maintain traffic at all times. So the proposed staging will have at least one vehicular lane of traffic at least 11 feet wide as the minimum standard, but a preference for 2 lanes can be established. Pedestrian access will also be provided for all construction stages. A minimum pedestrian sidewalk width of 5 feet will be established as the basis of design for the temporary condition during construction, with pedestrians separated from vehicular traffic with a median barrier or other similar approved measures. Next slide, please. This is a really good map to show where the bridge is located and the route of freight traffic. Freight traffic coming from Lombard and heading north to Terminal 4, which is a really important, or Northwest Container Services, will have to detour to Fessenden, Columbia to get to the destination. So having this bridge open at all times during construction is really important. Next slide, please. The proposed budget and funding. The project is expected to cost about $17.3 million, allocated across several categories: design, right-of-way, environmental phase, and construction. I mentioned right-of-way. We actually have plenty of right-of-way, but we might have to get some temporary construction easement during construction. The bridge, a bridge investment program federal funding grant in the amount of $13.8 million has been awarded to PBOT for this project. And PBOT is committed to providing $3.4 million of matching fund that they will come from heavy vehicle use tax revenues. And I think that's the end of the presentation. I wanted to mention that the FHWA gave us a very tight timeline to build this project. So we have until September of 2025 to deliver the design of this project. So it's a pretty tight timeline. And I'm going to stay here for questions.
Great. Colleagues, any questions? Commissioner Ryan?
This is really good news. Commissioner Mapps and Winston, after listening to some testimony today that we hear almost every week, do you feel good about the protection for pedestrians and bikes, the construction of this bridge?
Why don't I kick that over to Winston? We definitely have, we have baked in pedestrian access, bike access. Winston, how confident are we in the fact that this is a multimodal bridge?
Well, as you can see in the proposed bridge, we'll have 2 completely separate sidewalks, 8-foot sidewalks, and a 12-foot multi-use path, or basically a 2-way bike lane on one side. So there's plenty of right-of-way to accommodate 12-foot, which is the minimum for ODOT travel lanes, plus a 1.2 foot side distance. So it's almost like a 13-foot wide travel lanes and plenty of room for sidewalk and bike facilities. I would say protected bike facilities.
Okay, thank you, Winston.
I have, well, first of all, I support this project, and I don't envy you the timeline for design. That is a very tight timeline, but I'm sure you'll be successful. Out of left field question. Number one, I remember this happening. How did a train hit the bridge?
It's a derail. I think you probably remember another bridge that was hit recently by interstate. It's just a derail of the train.
And so it just derailed at an unfortunate point. And how much of this is being paid for by the company that operates the train versus the taxpayers?
I don't have an answer to that. I probably would have to talk to our bridge maintenance.
I am curious because I remember when it happened, I remember thinking, wow, that's an expensive mistake. And I hate to think that the liability is just all absorbed by taxpayers. That doesn't seem right.
Yes.
Although, Mr. Winston, can you remind us how many city tax dollars go into this versus the overall cost of the bridge?
It's at 3 million of heavy vehicle use. That's the match.
Okay, so the city's putting in a $3 million match, and just remind us again roughly how much this bridge costs?
17 million.
Okay, thank you very much.
So it's 20%
ODOT's putting
of
in the
the
majority
bridge.
of it though, right? ODOT's putting in like 13 million of it.
Yes,
Okay.
13 million
All
is
right.
coming
Well,
from
you know,
Corona.
it's an aside. The bridge needs to be replaced, obviously. That was more of a sideshow curiosity.
I understand. Although, Mr. Mayor, I do, as long as we're talking about this bridge being important, and it's important to replace this bridge, partly because it got hit by a train. I'll also tell you, since I've had this assignment at PBOT, which has been roughly a year, our 2040 freight plan has come out, which is essentially a stack of the infrastructure projects that we need / want / must get done between today and 2040. And I'll tell you, replacing this bridge was at the very top of this list. So I really want to congratulate Winston for helping us get us here today, and my PBOT crew for doing amazing work. They have done they focus like a laser on our top priorities and are getting it done. You can imagine in the infrastructure space being able to move within a year on your top priority, especially when your top priority is building a new bridge. That's just amazing. Very proud to work with these folks, and I just want to thank them.
Yeah, good work, and it's an opportunity to upgrade that infrastructure per the testimony we heard this morning.
Yeah.
So it all sort of fits together. Maybe the train just precipitated or sped up what was inevitable anyway.
Yeah.
Great. Any other comments or questions? This is let me make sure. Yes, this is an emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Rubio,
Aye.
Ryan,
Yes, congratulations, Commissioner Maps and PBOT staff for securing the grant. I vote aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Maps,
I want to thank Winston for his presentation today and his work on this project. That extends to everyone over at PBOT who's been working in this space. I also want to acknowledge the funding sources that make this project possible, which include the Biden administration, our local match from our heavy vehicle use tax, and now this ODOT grant. We're thrilled to move this project forward, which is one of the many reasons I'm voting aye.
Wheeler,
Well, first of all, I want to thank Commissioner Maps for prioritizing this. And Winston, thank you. I know this is a very aggressive timeline, but I have full confidence in you and your team to be able to get it done by September. I look forward to seeing how this progresses. I vote aye, and the ordinance is adopted.
Thank you
Could
very
we
much.
please, thanks, Winston. Could we please read items 225 and 226 together? They are both emergency ordinances.
Item 225, approve findings to authorize an exemption to the competitive bidding requirements and authorize competitive solicitation for the use of the alternative contract method negotiated request for proposals for construction of the Northwest Park Ave and Johnson Street, Kearney Street Local Improvement District. Item 226, authorize intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah County for improvements related to the Broadway Bridge West approach component of the Broadway Corridor development.
Commissioner Maps.
Thank you, colleagues. Let me start out by giving you a quick run of show. This item's a little bit unusual in that we're reading two items together. First, I'll introduce 225, and then we'll have a staff presentation, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions around that. Then I'll introduce 226. We have no formal staff presentation on 226, but we will have staff available to answer any questions that you might have on that. I believe both of these items are emergency ordinances, so I am hoping that we will be able to vote on this today. Indeed, we will vote on this today one way or another. Now, with that orientation, let me tell you a little bit about what's happening here. We have these two items which come to us from PBOT. Both emergency ordinances deal with the Broadway Corridor project. This project will transform the blocks where the old post office used to be located into a new, vibrant, mixed-use neighborhood, which will be served by a multimodal transportation hub. The Broadway Corridor project is a collaboration across city bureaus, government agencies, community, and private partners, and will transform this site into a destination in the central city that has the potential to generate considerable social, economic, and community benefits. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to our colleagues in Salem for approving $6 million this session for this project. These funds are greatly appreciated and will help propel our work forward. Now, let me give you a brief overview of what the first ordinance does. That's item 225. 225 authorizes an exemption to the city's standard low bid contracting process and allows the city to pursue an alternative contracting process for the Park Avenue and Johnson Kearney Streets local improvement district projects. There are several reasons why PBOT proposes using an alternative contracting method. First, this approach will reduce risk to the city and the general public. Second, we expect this alternative contracting method to save money. And third, this approach will reduce the amount of time it takes to complete this work. The construction cost for this project is anticipated to be between $15 and $18 million. This project is primarily funded by a local improvement district and system development charges. And here today to tell us more about this item, we have Brian Poole, a capital project manager with PBOT. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Brian Poole, and I'm here today to seek authorization for an exemption to the competitive bidding requirements for the construction of Northwest Johnson and Northwest Kearney Streets, and authorize the use of alternative contracting method of negotiated request for proposals. And with me online is Sarah Harpel from Prosper Portland and Kathleen Brenes-Marua from OMF Construction Procurement to help answer questions. Next slide. And just to give some context and maybe a reminder, the 14-acre former USPS site is bounded by Northwest Hoyt, Lovejoy, 9th, and Broadway streets. And this request is related to construction of Phase 1 infrastructure that will extend Johnson and Kearney streets, the main east-west streets through the site, and make minor improvements to Northwest 9th Avenue as well. Next slide. And the development of this infrastructure is the next step in advancing this public-private partnership endeavor. The USPS master plan process that began in 2018 set forth the urban design, public infrastructure, and phasing necessary to support up to 4 million square feet of development. And Prosper Portland is managing the overall preparation and development of the site. PBOT and the city is partnering to develop the infrastructure and set up the debt financing. And the Portland Housing Bureau plans to be the first to develop on the site following completion of the project. Next slide. And as you can see, this project will help open up much of the site for development and reduce a lot of the upfront infrastructure costs. Demolition of the USPS warehouse was recently completed, as you can see on the picture on the right there, and the site is now construction ready. Next slide. This shows sort of a concept drawing of Northwest Johnson Street, and when fully built out, it is intended to become a retail main street for the district, while also serving as a neighborhood greenway route that connects Union Station to the Pearl District, Slabtown, and other parts of Northwest Portland. Northwest Kearney Street will serve as the local access street, which you can see on the bottom right. This current project will construct the streets and the utility infrastructure to help reduce impacts during construction and improve area accessibility and mobility options for all users. Next slide. The total funding for the street infrastructure is approximately $28 million, which does include a Phase 2 that will construct an extension of Northwest Park Avenue. Construction of this phase is anticipated to be between $15 and $18 million. And this funding is coming from transportation SDCs, recently allocated state funding in a local improvement district. Next slide. This slide just shows a timeline of where we're at and where we're going with the project. We anticipate breaking ground in late summer of 2024 and continuing into 2026. And once complete, the Portland Housing Bureau, if we can coordinate correctly, plans to begin construction of an affordable housing development on the corner of Northwest Johnson and Northwest 9th Avenue immediately after. And then construction of Park Avenue will occur in the future as development warrants the need. Next slide. And regarding the procurement method for construction, the project team considered 4 contracting options for the project. And we feel the negotiated RFP option will best allow the city to ensure a successful project that can meet the aims of the Regional Workforce Equity Agreement and increase opportunities for certified subcontractor participation and workforce diversity. It will also allow for the review of proposals to determine the contractor has the necessary expertise to deal with unknown underground materials and an ability to work with other agencies, contractors, and utilities during construction. Cost will still be the primary factor in the evaluation of proposals. Next slide. So in summary, we ask that City Council accept these findings, authorize the project's exemption from competitive bidding, and authorize a competitive solicitation for the negotiated RFP contracting. And we also ask that as part of that, that the ordinance as proposed be amended and that we strike Directive C from the ordinance. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan's office, for catching the error there. So we do ask that it be amended to strike Directive C. And then we also ask for approval of a related item, the IGA with Multnomah County, that will ensure coordination and enable reimbursement during construction. Next slide. So with that, we're excited to move this project to the next phase of development. And thank you for your time and happy to answer any questions.
So I just want to be clear. I think I heard you say you need an amendment.
We do.
So moved. Or actually, let me introduce this amendment. Colleagues, I need to introduce an amendment to strike. Can you?
Directive C from the now there.
To strike Directive C from the ordinance?
Yes.
And give us an intuitive understanding of what's in Directive C.
Directive C mentioned that we accept the findings of the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. So it was just carryover language that we typically do for our low bid projects that unfortunately found its way into this alternative process.
Okay, so I move to amend the ordinance to strike
Directive C.
Directive C.
I'll second. Commissioner
Thank you.
Ryan seconds. Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. Amendments on the table. Great. Any further questions at this point on this particular item? Do you have public testimony? Well, why don't we, if there's questions on the second one, you can also tee that up.
I think there might be public testimony on this
Let's
one.
wait. Let's hear the presentation on both and then go to public, because the public testimony will encompass both.
Yeah, and so Commissioner Maps, do you want to read the second item? We don't have a presentation on the IGA.
Right. So do we want to go to,
Yeah, okay, so there's no more presentation. Any other questions at this point?
well, let's see, here's just to orient myself.
Okay.
I think we have one person signed up to testify. I can't remember if it's on this ordinance or the second ordinance.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't-
So, because we've called both ordinances, they're both on the table, so people can testify on either. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a presentation on 226.
I do have some introductory language on
Very
that.
good.
So why don't I read the language on 226? So colleagues, the second ordinance that we're going to hear about today is 226. This ordinance is a really straightforward IGA with Multnomah County for staffing services for the construction of the Johnson and Kearney Street extensions, which we just heard about. This IGA will allow the county to inspect the construction impacts to the Broadway Bridge West Approach and will compensate the county for staff resources used for this work. The total cost authorized for the second item is not to exceed $120,000. This project is primarily funded by local improvement district and system development charges. We have no formal staff presentation on this one, but Brian's here to answer any questions that you might have. And if I could just put all that into intuitive terms, so what we're doing in this space is we're reconnecting the local street grid, which didn't exist because we had the giant post office there. The new street grid will at some point connect to some county property, the Broadway Bridge. The county operates the bridge. They need to inspect our plans and our work to make sure that we're not going to screw up their bridge as we build this project. Is that kind of fair?
Yep, that's correct.
Very good. Well said.
I have a
Yeah,
conceptual.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
I guess I have a conceptual question as we're thinking about this space. What are our thoughts on pedestrian only, cycling only as we're reopening some of these streets? What is essential for vehicle transport and what might lend itself to pedestrian only or cycling only areas down there?
Yeah, so it's an exciting opportunity. We don't have many opportunities in the central city to build new streets and think about that in that way. So yeah, appreciate your question. And on Johnson Street, we are going to be having a separated cycle track. So there will be a two-way bike facility on the south side of the street that won't be within the roadway. And then we'll have sidewalks on both streets. Kearney is more of a shared street. We expect that to be really low volume. And then Northwest Park is actually that's sort of that second phase of the project. We are working with the Parks Bureau to really think about what that looks like. And Sarah Harple, who has sort of been part of that master planning process, could probably answer this question better. But we do envision that being sort of a more pedestrian-oriented street that sort of helps transition the Northport Park blocks up through the site and ultimately up to the Broadway Bridge. Sarah, I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. Mayor Wheeler. For the record, my name is Sarah Harple. I'm a Senior Project Manager at Prosper Portland. I would just add, as we went through the master planning site for this property, Johnson, as you can imagine, it going through kind of the center of the site, serves really as the front door for 6 of the parcels, so a pretty significant amount of the property. So that's necessary for access and opening the doors of those properties. Kearney similarly serves as the front door for the northern end of the development, but also where parking and access goes. So vehicular traffic through the site is critical, and that was demonstrated both through the master planning process and our traffic impact studies as we kind of looked at traffic demand, signal, traffic mitigation, et cetera. So trying to balance all of those needs within the site. And as Brian said, we tried to also emphasize bike and pedestrian access through the site. So additionally, on the northern side of Johnson, you have an expanded sidewalk. So it's kind of an extra large space, and some of the design elements are intended to signal prioritization of bike and pedestrian movement through Johnson.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions before we go to public testimony? Do we have anybody signed up, Rebecca?
Yes, one person.
Great.
Kevin Lux.
Well, good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Mayor. Hey, good to see all of you again. My name is Kevin Lux. I'm the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Columbia Pacific Building and Construction Trades Council. We represent approximately 20,000 union construction workers across 10 counties in Oregon and 3 in Washington. And I am an unapologetic advocate for the interests of working people, specifically those of us in the building and construction industry. And I really like to center the conversation on how this affects workers. Now, I'm here to testify generally in favor of item number 226 with cautious optimism, and here's why. I want to highlight the good ongoing work as part of the Broadway Corridor project and the way it enhances the lives and prosperity of construction workers in the greater Portland area. Item 226 to authorize an IGA may seem small, a little wonky, a little technical, but some facts that aren't wonky. As of January of this year, Prosper Portland successfully completed the demolition of the Postal Service Vehicle Maintenance Facility. And as a result of that, 93% of the costs were spent at co-bid certified firms. Nearly $36 million was spent at minority-owned firms. 24% of hours were worked by apprentices. That's the workforce of the future. 70% of workers, 70% of hours were worked by minority workers, and 20% of the hours were worked by women workers. This increasing diversity across the workforce. And these aren't just numbers. These are people. These are lives. And to further the good work for Broadway Corridor, it's my hope and that of my affiliates that item 226 will be a little bit of grease in the gears to advance the goals of the city, Prosper Portland, the Healthy Communities Coalition, the business community, and the community partners and real working people. It is truly restorative justice work. On behalf of those who lace up their boots every day to literally build a better and brighter future for us all, I appreciate your consideration and renewing your commitment to center your good work on how it helps working people in Portland. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. All right, that completes public testimony. Any further discussion? If not, please call the roll on item 225, an emergency ordinance as amended.
Rubio.
I want to thank Commissioner Mapps and the Transportation Bureau team for their great partnership on the Broadway corridor work. Today's actions represent yet another milestone of steady progress to prepare Broadway corridor for development in alignment with the vision set forth by the community partners. Notably, it demonstrates the continued and successful collaboration among several city bureaus, namely Transportation, Environmental Services, Water Bureau, Housing Bureau, and Prosper Portland on all aspects of the project, and also Parks and Recreation. From master plan conceptualization and securing local and state funding to completing design plans and clearing the site for construction of the streets and future development, all leading to today's authorization to seek construction bids. And notably, the Portland Housing Bureau is now actively seeking proposals for a first phase of development to include up to 230 affordable housing units, which will depend on this very infrastructure today that we're talking about to open its doors. And importantly, this project will also continue to deliver on the commitment to the values of the Broadway corridor, that this public investment should and will further inclusive economic growth and jobs for working people. This is great work, and I'm both eager and happy to see this project continue moving forward. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes, I'm glad this came to the dais today. I think the project that always comes to my mind, because it was so public, everyone could see it, was Cascade Station, where we did all the infrastructure first and then it gradually developed. And so I always think of that in regards to this. I appreciate it because Commissioner Rubio bringing up all the different bureaus that are involved in this. And so this is a great step forward. And I also appreciate the testimony. Well done. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
So support this baby step and hopefully a revitalized area for our city, and definitely appreciate the testimony on the importance for creating family wage jobs. We got to build more in the city of Portland. It's a good step in that direction. I vote aye.
Maps.
I want to thank staff for today's presentation, and I want to thank everyone across many, many different bureaus for helping us get to this point. And colleagues, as I cast this vote, I also want to pause and underscore why I think this project is important, or why it's resonating with me today and at this moment in Portland's history. I think many, many people in Portland at this particular moment in time are wondering about and frankly afraid about the future of downtown Portland. And obviously downtown faces many challenges, but I would argue that this project is part of the solution. One of the things that we've learned in recent years is that neighborhoods that tend to thrive at this moment have a different mix of commercial versus residential. And frankly, one of our problems downtown is that we don't have enough residential. With this project, we are literally laying the foundation for Portland's next great neighborhood. I believe that this will contribute to the revitalization of downtown Portland, really glad to be part of the solution here, and will watch this neighborhood unfold and grow with pride and excitement moving forward, which is why I vote aye.
Wheeler.
Well, first of all, I strongly support this, and I appreciate the great work that's being done here. And my colleagues are right to acknowledge that this has been an all-hands-on-deck effort. And I will tell you that up until maybe a year ago, one of my greatest regrets, having served as mayor, is how slow this project has progressed, how slowly. We went through considerable efforts to put together a broad community benefits agreement with substantial input from the community. And following that, we went through an extensive master planning exercise that was completed over almost now just under 6 years ago. Then, of course, 2020 came around and all bets were off. And we even had to switch master plan developers along the way and make some other changes. But now I look at it through different eyes. And I see, as Commissioner Mapps just pointed out, that the future city can't be like the city of the past. And that is embedded in the values of this development, as Commissioner Rubio pointed out, but also the mix. Had we actually gone forward a couple of years earlier, the mix would have been wrong. We would have bet big time on a mix that would have turned out not to be appropriate for the environment in which we're operating today. So in a sense, the fact that we got shut down by COVID and it was put on ice, except for the pre-development work and the demolition work, has probably benefited us. And I'm glad that we have this opportunity to reevaluate what we're going to do in terms of the absolute mix under the master plan that was approved in 2018. Because we can't make people come to the central city anymore. No city can. You have to make them want to be there. And so we have the opportunity to really think about this neighborhood as a clean slate opportunity right in the central city core to determine what that mix of attributes is that will encourage people to be here and to activate it and to have everybody feel like they have a piece of the action. And so I look forward to watching how this develops. I'm glad we're starting with the housing component. And I think over the course of the next 15 years, this should be a very, very exciting and energizing project for all Portlanders. I vote aye. The ordinance is adopted as amended. Item 226, also an emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Thank you for a great presentation. Item 227, please, a non-emergency, it's a second reading of a non-emergency ordinance.
Authorize the rates and charges for water and water-related services beginning July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, and fix an effective date.
Colleagues, any further business on this second reading? Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Mapps, I had a wonderful meeting with people from your staff and some of the leaders from the Bureau, but I just wanted to make sure for transparency that I could just repeat a couple of.
Sure.
I see, hi, I can't remember names right now.
Dawn.
Dawn, I know Dawn's name. If they came up, that'd probably be more convenient.
All right, Dawn, come on up.
Oh, you were trying to hide all
And
the
the
way in the
numbers
back of the room. That never works.
Is this a water question or a BES question? Or both?
Are we on item 227?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, do we have a final number basically for the filtration project, Bull Run, as I call it, and I think a lot of Portlanders call it? I know we've had some change orders that have come, and so we were talking about the connection between rates and when we do big projects. One that I really celebrate, I think most Portlanders do, we really need to have, protect one of our most precious resources. And so it's an investment worth doing. I just want to make sure the connection's really clear.
Commissioner Ryan, I think we might have the wrong team here today is anyone here prepared to answer that? I don't, no.
Final number for the filtration.
Yeah. These are the wrong folks for this particular question. So 2 different bureaus, Water and BES. Dawn is head of BES. But I will tell you, we are,
The rates and changes for the water and water-related services. Am I looking at the wrong one? Are we on 227?
nope, 227, that's where we're at. So we're just determining the rates for next year for your water and sewer bill. The water filtration plant is one project within the Water Bureau, and it's certainly paid for in part through rates. But what we're really trying to do here is determine basically the rate that you pay to either get some of the best water in the world or to process your stormwater or to process your wastewater.
Okay, I think I asked a valid question, and I get that, I understand there's two different bureaus. I'm so aware of that.
Yeah.
I just thought that I was in a meeting with you, and I know I brought up those questions last Friday.
You did. You did. I think Water Bureau staff would be in the best position to answer that. I don't have those numbers right in front of me. Apologies.
Sorry, they were both there, and
Yeah.
It's not one of my bureaus. It's easy to not know who's.
So Commissioner Gonzalez?
I was just going to submit, I think Commissioner Ryan's questions last week are on the mind of a lot of Portlanders. And what is not always intuitive in looking at the city budget, including when we approve rates, is the difference between capital projects and how that flows through in the budget we're approving, particularly as we're talking about rates. And it is not particularly intuitive to those who don't spend a ton of time with, public accounting, much less, public entity financial statements. And so the question is rate making the time to have that conversation about capital projects or not? And particularly such a large one. And this is something that's on the mind of a lot of folks, and how we sort of elevate it up and make it a space for meaningful conversation. Because the flip side is when we get updates on the filtration project, we hear these gigantic numbers, but people are trying to translate it into the rates they're going to pay. And it's not an intuitive transition unless we kind of go back to the basics of how it flows through.
Sure. No, I hear your concerns, and certainly one of the things I can work on is trying to be, as we go through the budget process, to be clearer about the relationship between our capital projects, our service delivery, and what you pay on your water and sewer bill. I will tell you the rates that are put forward here for water and sewer do include the cost of building the water filtration plant. Frankly, I would say since I have had this assignment, which is about 3 years, we've done a lot of value engineering here to try to maintain cost or bring it in on budget. So I can tell you the proposal that we have on the table today will pay for the project that I will remind people, obliged to build. Commissioner or Mr. Mayor.
See Cecilia, who's online.
Oh, is she here?
She's online.
Cecilia, if you're here, thank you. I couldn't see you. Cecilia is the person who can answer all of your questions, Commissioner Ryan. Cecilia, have you been tracking what's been going on? Or the conversation?
Yes. Yes, but I want to make sure that I heard Commissioner Ryan's question correctly. If you could please repeat your question.
Oh, sure. Do we have the final numbers on the Bull Run filtration project? And do we know if any more change orders or cost adjustments are coming? I know we've all voted on a couple of those.
Sure. What we have included in the requested budget is consistent with what we talked about last summer with council. That did have an increase to the $350 million to the program, total program cost. That does include indirect and direct. That total is about $1.8 billion currently. And in the budget is what we submitted. We will be coming to council next month. We are scheduled to, working to schedule that next month to provide a annual update on the project. We have a couple of GMPs that we will need to come to council, the second GMPs on those projects. And so we will be providing additional information on the project next month.
No, thank you, Cecilia. And MWH Hewitt is the general contractor, correct?
That I am not certain of.
I recall it from change orders. That's the only reason. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jack. You nodded. And are they fulfilling their previous commitments to certified firms? Maybe that's a question to bring up when they come back in a month.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So
Those are my questions.
Great.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry, Dawn.
No worries.
It was Gabe in the meeting last week. Yeah.
And I just want to clarify for Commissioner Maps, what I was alluding to is not a critique of the way it's presented by the bureaus. It's just I think it's just a challenge sometimes for folks at home to track the way capital projects flow through into rates. And and I don't mean to speak for Commissioner Ryan, but just hearing his questions last week and this week as stewards, where we're interjecting, there's the capital side and then there's a rate making approval and just trying to talk about it in the right way and hone in on what we can actually control.
I appreciate that. And I will tell you, this is authentically a confusing and complex space. There's both the capital side, there's the rate side, there's also the larger regulatory space side that we have to comply with. You know, frankly, if we don't, we are obliged to bring this plant online by 2027. If we don't bring it on by 2027, the federal governments will say, your water no longer drinking are the standards that we have set for a nation. And then, frankly, every day we have a problem and fines, which will start to accumulate. So that's kind of the balance that we're, or one of the many balancing acts that we're in this space.
And in that meeting, the staff was great, and there is the connection, obviously, between this work and the rates. So that was discussed. And I'm just trying to make sure that we actually track it transparently and we celebrate it even because it's really important, just like the big pipe was. Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate the question.
Great, very good. Any further business on this item? Please call the roll.
Rubio.
I want to thank, I'm going to speak to both just because we heard them that way and it's clearer for me. I want to thank Commissioner Maps and BES and water staff for providing a follow-up briefing to answer some of my questions that came up after the presentation last week. I also understand the need and I will support increasing the rates to continue supporting the infrastructure needs to maintain these critical services and the workforce. And I also want to acknowledge the financial strain on communities when they're seeing their rates go up across all utilities and all services. Those are real costs to families. However, it's something we need to do to keep up our service levels. I appreciate the continued funding allocations to programs also to alleviate the costs on our lower and fixed income populations too, however. And I feel like that bears lifting up, so I appreciate that. Thank you for continuing to keep these program costs manageable for all those folks. So I'm happy to vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes. Thank you, first of all, to Commissioner Mapp staff and the staff from Water Bureau. It was very helpful to have some dialogue last week on this topic because access to fresh drinking water is non-negotiable. And I hope we have enough safeguards in place to protect our most vulnerable populations from these steady rate increases. And I hope we are able to come to terms with the reality and shed light on our expenses and realities at Bull Run. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
I vote aye.
Maps.
I want to thank Cecilia for parachuting in here today. And I want to thank everyone at both bureaus who have been working. These folks literally work 13 months a year to calculate their budgets and their rates. I'm incredibly proud of the work they've done and the services they provide. I will also tell you, as I cast this vote, my mind is hearkening back to the pre-proc today, where we were celebrating the good work that this council has done to keep our AAA rating. I'll tell you, folks, one of the reasons why that has been in question is that Moody's and the other financial services have changed the formula that they use to calculate the risk involved in loaning the city of Portland money. One of the new things here is that they look at how responsibly bodies like city council pay for and fund utility services. Frankly, before, that wasn't part of the formula. Today it is. Frankly, that's one of the reasons why it's important that we set rates that actually meet the cost of the services that we are obliged to provide, both out of good government and because of the larger regulatory space that we exist in. This is frankly what good government looks like, which is why I am glad to vote aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Next item, item 228, first reading of a non-emergency ordinance.
Authorize competitive solicitation and contract with the lowest responsive and responsible bidder and provide payment for construction of the Northeast 87th and Marks Street sewer reconstruction project for an estimated cost of $1,006,000.
Commissioner Mass.
Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes BES to replace several hundred feet of sewer pipe along Northeast 87th Avenue. These pipes are deteriorating and have a history of maintenance problems. More specifically, this section of sewer pipe has costly issues caused by tree root intrusion and requires frequent sewer cleaning. Environmental Services has determined that replacing this section of sewer pipe will extend the service life of this critical pipe and reduce the risk of pipe breakage and sewer releases, which in turn will protect public health, people's property, and the environment. The project that we are considering will cost approximately $1 million. We expect to begin construction in July of 2024. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Brandon Wilson, an engineering manager for environmental services, and we also have Dakota Smiley, a project manager with BES. Welcome, Team BES.
Thank you, Commissioner. As you mentioned, my name is Brandon Wilson, acting interim design division manager, and I'm here to introduce Dakota Smiley. She is the design manager and project manager for this project, and she has a presentation that she'd like to go through. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. I am Dakota Smiley, the project manager for this project. Is it appropriate for me to share my screen for the presentation?
Yeah, that'd be great if you're queued up to do that.
Okay. I have the presentation, but I do not. Oh, there it is. Can you see the presentation on screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. So this project, I'm the project manager, and the supervisor for this project is Terrence Chan. The project is on the northern intersection of 87th and Marks Avenue in the Park Rose neighborhood near to the Portland Airport. This pipe is approximately 433 feet of 8-inch concrete pipe that we will be upgrading to PVC pipe to extend the life of this pipe. There are 2 maintenance holes that we will be rehabilitating during this construction process, and 6 service laterals to the immediate properties that will also be replaced during construction. During our early investigations and design, we found that the soil around the pipe is contaminated with non-hazardous media, lube oil, and gasoline from the nearby Toyota dealership. So we will be dealing with the soil, and we are also within 100 feet of the Columbia Slough on the north end, which has resulted in high groundwater also near our pipe. That water has also been contaminated, and we will be treating that during construction. Those 2 items increased our budget for this project into the $1 million range, which is why we are here today. The pipe that we are replacing is in a industrial complex. The highest traffic is semi trucks in the area. It's both a local street, Northeast 87th Avenue, but also industrial. We have already had our public involvement reach out to the nearby businesses, so they are aware of the project. And we will keep them informed at every stage of the project and during construction if there are any road closures or the updated traffic control during construction. The potential impacts that we have is that semi-trailers are currently parked along Northeast 87th Avenue. They will not be able to do that during construction and will most likely park on Northeast Marks Drive and possibly on Northeast Columbia Court. The secondary impact is that there are houseless encampments on both Northeast Marks Drive and Northeast Columbia Court that would be impacted by those semi-trucks that will be moved to those areas. But again, we are working with companies to reduce the impact and minimize it for those two groups during construction. Our engineer's estimate, just over $1 million, very high confidence level. We will be advertising this project in late April and plan to begin construction in July of 2024 and have approximately a 90 calendar day construction period to end just before the wet rainy season begins later this fall. And with that, I would like to open it up to any questions that the council may have.
Mr. Mayor, I think we might have public testimony on this one.
If there's no questions, we'll move right to public testimony.
There's no one signed up for 227.
Oh, really? Okay.
All right, colleagues, any questions? Seeing none, this is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, my mistake is item 228. We do have one person signed up.
Good.
We have Jacob Loeb.
Sorry, Jacob, probably gave you a heart attack there. Welcome.
No worries, thanks. Hello, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Jacob Loeb. I serve on several city advisory groups, and I sit on the 82nd Avenue Business Association board. But today I'm speaking in support of this project on behalf of my primary employer, Velotech.
Great.
For over a decade, we have served the national cycling community from our warehouse on Northeast 87th Avenue. This is a challenging place to operate a business, from dealing with persistent encampments, theft, and vandalism. And we also have suffered the unpleasant effects of backed up sewers and flooded parking lots. We support this project and hope that it can improve conditions for the cluster of businesses on this street and while maintaining business access during construction, as we get many deliveries and we send many shipments out through carriers. Simple support of the project. We're not directly connected to this, but we do benefit from it being repaired, and we appreciate it.
Short and to the point. Thank you. Appreciate it, Jacob.
If there are no questions, I do want to take a moment to thank Jacob for testifying in favor of this. You don't often get public testimony for a bread and butter transportation project like this. I also want to let folks know, or remind folks, that I used to literally work in this neighborhood at historic Park Rose, which is like roughly 112th and Sandy. Spent a lot of time managing the houselessness issues in that space. Also helped bring a LID, which actually did amazing work to kind of transform these neighborhoods from kind of rubble, and if you just kind of look at the streets, into some really beautiful infrastructure. Really glad to see this move forward.
Great. This is the first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. Moves to second reading. Last item, 229, is second reading.
Revise sewer and stormwater rates, charges, and fees in accordance with the FY 2024-25 budget.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Knapp's.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. We are adjourned.